Today I'm going to show you how to save 3 shots off your score in 3 minutes. Hi, I'm Paul and this is The Golf Show.
So the chest for most people is quite a tight area that will limit shoulder rotation. Get into the right hip and get the stretch at the top of the movement.
Sorry, if I pull a funny face out, just think you shout it's Paul behind me.
Let's get it firing, let's get it going. Good.
We had to pick the hottest day of the year to do this, didn't we?
Yes, I know.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. For once, the sun's out at Fulford Golf Club, I can't believe it. I've got Jon Hodgkinson from Jon Hodgkinson Golf Fitness with me today, and Jon's going to help me shave a few shots off my score. Jon, how you doing, mate?
Very good, thank you, Paul.
Good
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you, thanks for coming back on the channel. Yeah, thank you very much for coming to join us. So, I need some help.
Okay.
We're all busy, and when I get to the course, I don't always have enough time to warm up as I would like. Might hit a few balls in the nets, roll a few putts, and onto the first tee. Fulford is such a hard start here, the first 5 holes. You can blow your handicap and then it's a really long round from there. So I'm looking for maybe 5 minutes worth of exercises, a bit of stretching, just something to get this old body going, you know, and I think that would be great. But also I'm really conscious that when I'm there with all my mates or the guys that are sat on the patio whilst I'm getting ready to go out, I don't want to look a bit geeky when I'm doing all this warm-up. So if there's some exercises we can do that are that kind of thing, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. So what we're going to show you today is a mixture of what we would call mobility, which is basically getting those key joints in the body moving, the ones that are really relevant to the golf swing. And then we're going to show you some muscle activation techniques as well. So this is the idea of getting those muscles warmed up and fired up and ready to do the job. So if you think, you know, like you said, at Fulford, tight first tee shot, first 5 holes can really ruin your card. What the research would show from warming up correctly is that you can obviously increase swing speed, which is going to be helpful, but also your dispersion rate, if we do things properly, should start to then fall into line a little bit as well. So we're going to keep it simple, we're going to keep it as easy as possible, the sort of stuff that, like you say, you don't want to look like an idiot in the nets. We're going to make it as bulletproof as possible. 3 mobility drills, 3 muscle activation drills, get it done, get hitting some balls, and then you're ready to go. Yeah, so if you think, you know, average club head speed with your driver is
about 100.
Okay, so you step onto the first tee at Fulford, you've hit 4 or 5 shots in the nets, you've rolled some putts, but is your body ready to rotate and accelerate at 100 mile an hour? Probably not. So we have to get the body, you know, the pretense of a warm-up is you've got to get the body ready for what it's about to do. You're about to hit a tee shot with 100 mile an hour club head speed, so we've got to get the body fired up. If it's cold, something is not going to work properly for you. So your swing path for what you're normally used to is going to be slightly off position. Most golfers are manipulators of the club as well. So if we can try and reduce that variance a little bit, it's going to help you.
And I guess avoid injury as well.
100%.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get started.
First thing for us to look at is a little bit of mobility work. So the best way of understanding mobility is we just want to get those key joints of the body that need to rotate, we want to get them rotating. Okay, so in the golf swing, you could break this down quite simply that there are certain parts of the body and certain joints that can rotate, and there are certain joints that can't rotate. Golf is a rotational sport. The hip joint should, in theory, be able to rotate through big degrees of rotation. You're a right-handed golfer, so your ability to load into your right hip and also clear out that left hip at impact is really important. So we're going to warm that area up. We're also then going to move up to the mid portion of your spine that we call your thoracic spine. So you break the spine down into segments. You've got the base of it, which is your lumbar spine, that should be stable. It doesn't like to rotate. Your thoracic spine is that mid portion around the rib cage. That should rotate, and we need it to rotate. And we're also going to look at shoulder mobility as well, and your ability to get those shoulders rotating. So those 3 key areas of the body that we need to rotate, we're going to get them working. So the first drill, and you can do this with a club, you could do it with an alignment stick, you could also do it without a club as well. Okay, really easy to do if you're on the practice ground or if you're in the nets. We're going to try and just load the hip and also load that thoracic spine at the same time. So this first drill, we call it a kick stance rotation. The idea of a kick stance is, if I show you on here, so I'm going to load up on my right side, which for me is my trail side. That's the side I'm going to load into for my golf swing. I'm going to come up onto my toes on my back foot. Okay, so kick stance, most of my pressure on that front leg, a little bit of a stabilizer on the back foot. I'm going to take the club across the top of the shoulders. And I'm just going to work on the idea of trying to load and rotate up into that right hip and let the upper body rotate at the same time. So as I get into this position, if we're doing this right, you're going to feel the stretch through the right hip, maybe through the hamstring. You come back down to the center and then you start to wind it up and load and rotate. Now the great thing about this drill is a lot of amateur golfers, they start to shift laterally, okay? And when you shift laterally, there's a lot of variation in the swing mechanics. So ideally we would like you to pivot and rotate around the central point. In this kickstance position, we're testing your balance, we're testing a little bit of stability, and we're just asking the question of, can you load and rotate into that right hand side? Can you get the upper portion of your thoracic spine rotating and loading? So we'd probably do maybe 5 to 6 rotations on the right side, and then we would switch it over and we'd do the same drill getting into that left hip. So thinking about that idea of trying to clear the left hip out the way, rotating through the thoracic spine and just delivering that right shoulder, solid impact position. And again, if we get it right, we should feel a little bit of a stretch through the back of the hip. Okay. All yours. So let's shift it around. So keeping your eyes down on the floor, on my foot, yep. Load and rotate up into that right hand side. In that position, can you feel a little bit of a stretch into your right pocket area?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So we know you've loaded it correctly if you've got that, okay? So just give me 5 reps. Nice, easy tempo.
Go any faster.
Yeah, that's all right. No, that's fine. That's fine. So it wants to be a little bit of a challenge from a stability perspective, okay? So you can see here, you might not be able to see it on camera, but the foot's working pretty hard to stabilise. Yep. Yeah. So all those little muscles in the lower body are starting to switch on. They're starting to fire up. Yep. We're testing them, okay? Let's switch you on to the other side. So let's now think about that idea of trying to clear that left hip out of the way. Keep your eyes down on the floor again here. And then load up and rotate. That's it. Good. And again, you should, if we get it right, feel a little bit of a stretch into that left hip, around into the left glute area. And again, we can see that left foot starting to work a little bit, so it's testing stability.
Digging in.
Yeah, upper body's rotating quite nicely as well. Just think, let's drop that shoulder and let's hike that shoulder. So here and here. That way, yep. Oh, yeah. Very good. Just do one more with your eyes down on the floor. Perfect. So that's a great position. Hit 2 areas there. So we've hit the hips, we've hit the thoracic spine. What we also want to look at is the upper body. So how well can you get those arms moving up overhead? Now the relevance of this in the golf swing is, for a right-handed golfer like yourself and myself as well, we want to be able to get some good height and width into the backswing. Now that left arm, that lead side, needs to be able to help us in that motion. When we load the hip, when we rotate through the upper body, we also want good height and width there as well. So if we can just get that shoulder joint moving up overhead. I'll do it without the club for you. I'm going to get into a dress position. I'm going to think about how I can just fire my abs up a little bit to create some stability. I'm going to hold that posture. You're going to hold the club overhand and just grip it, create a little bit of tension. And then from there, you're going to work on the idea. Keep the arms nice and straight, load up overhead, and then drop it back down to your thighs. And from here, you want to feel like you're trying to really arc and reach up nice and high. You should create a bit of a stretch as you go, and then drop it back down to the top of the thighs. So really, really easy, sort of 5 to 6 repetitions, just working through at a steady tempo. You're not trying to rush this. The only thing to watch on this, so if you just turn this way on for me, and then if you show me a bad repetition where your upper body lifts up, okay, so give me a bad rep. So this is what we're trying to avoid as much as possible, is we want to stay in posture. We want to test that posture for you. So if you drop down into your address position again, think about the idea of create stability through the torso. Just watch you don't overextend through the lower back. Perfect. So I can actually put a bit of pressure here and I can tell that you're not using your lower back, okay? It's all coming through the shoulders. We're stretching out the lats. The lats are a big contributor to speed and power through the upper body. So that's just 2 drills. We've hit 3 key areas of rotation and range of motion in the body. Okay, so that's the start of the warm-up. You do 5 to 6 repetitions on each one. You're going to get that done within a minute and a half if we do it effectively. That's just in the nets before you hit balls. What we're going to do in this next phase is go through some what we call muscle activation techniques. Now the idea here is that we're trying to get the body fired up, we're trying to get it ready to go. Think again about that idea, you're about to step on the first tee and your club head speed is roughly 100 miles an hour. Okay, we have to get the body ready to go for that. So the best way of doing this is by using what we call TheraBands and power bands. They're just elastic bands that just allow the muscles to fire up. You're not fatiguing them, so you're not working at a 10 out of 10, but we're going to be somewhere around like a 6 or 7 out of 10. So it's enough to feel it, it's enough to get those muscles engaged and working and ready to actually rotate and move at speed as well. So we're going to start off by trying to fire up your glutes. They are the big stabilizer and rotator of the hip.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the idea that the hip needs to rotate, but we also want stability in the golf swing. So we're going to use the TheraBand. Now you can get a pack of these online from Amazon for 6-7 quid.
Okay.
They're really inexpensive. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to take this over the shoes and we're going to have it just above the knees first of all. Okay, so we've got enough to feel it. This is a heavier band as well. We're either doing this on the practice ground or we're doing it in the net. So you've either got something to hold on to with the nets, or you can use the golf club. So for me, this is just a little bit of a stabilizer. The glute sits around the back of the hip and it's also a rotator. So we're going to take it through a little bit of rotation work. So nice and stable through the upper body. From here, I'm going to get my weight onto my left leg. I'm going to push slightly back off center with that right hand side. You notice how my foot and my hip is just rotating, almost like I'm drawing a half of a semicircle or an arc position. And then from here, as I go, I'm feeling that right glute. So you've got to think a little bit about the muscle working. So we're squeezing, we're firing on this side, and then I'd do the same on the other side as well. So I'd set my weight on my right hand side, use the club for stability, and just start to drive slightly back off center. And I'm doing probably 10 to 15 repetitions on each side. It's enough to feel it actually kicking in through the glutes. So if I pass you that first of all, this is the tricky bit, getting the band on without falling over, which is a good test of balance. So we're all about that. So just above the knees, and then you're going to use the club as a bit of a stabilizer. So plant the club onto the floor. And then just use both hands on top of it and just give yourself a little bit of stability. Okay. Yeah, perfect. So what I'm going to do, just as a bit of a demo, I'm just going to lay this down on the floor here. That's just a bit of a guiding line for you. Yeah, so
you could put a club down there, couldn't you?
You could, yeah. So you just come in slightly back off center. That's it. Keep your eyes down on here. Just feel how, so you're doing the left hip at the minute, okay? So the left hip's just opening up. Can you feel the left buttock, the left glute starting to work? Yeah, perfect. So this is the idea, muscle activation. We feel the muscles working. They're starting to prep and they're starting to stabilize that joint as well. So we do 10 to 15 reps on this side, then we'd switch it over and we'd do the right side as well. Create that little bit of stability first of all, and now you're pushing slightly. Yeah, that's it, just that little bit of rotation. Just watch that the upper body doesn't try and go with you as well. Okay, so we're just trying to isolate the hip.
Just that hip,
Absolutely. So again, if you were stood in the nets, you'd just hold on to the frame of the nets. You could, if you want to hide away from the public, you could do it in the car park, just by the side of the car, locker room.
Isn't it? It's not, I don't want someone to think I'm a big enough golf nerd as it is. Without someone seeing me with all these gizmos and stuff.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's pretty subtle. That no one's going to notice you.
And I think what we've found by the amateur golfers that we work with, we have conversations with them all the time. Like, there's a gold standard to how you would warm up, but the reality is that we have to try and meet you halfway. Because the gold standard would be that you'd probably go in the gym and you'd actually lift some weights and do some work in there as well, but we don't have access to that. We're coming up for a monthly medal or whatever it might be, or even like a casual knock. You can put these TheraBands and power bands in the golf bag. You could do it before you go and practice or hit balls at the range. They're cheap. It's easy to do.
Carry around in the golf bag.
Yeah, 100%.
I was watching US Open at the weekend, and all the guys returned to the course in their gym kit. But obviously you say they've got the facilities there, whereas we haven't got the time for that when we've got the facilities. So
absolutely.
Even a little is going to help a lot, isn't it?
This is it. I mean, like we said, there's the gold standard and we're somewhere here. Okay, so we appreciate the fact that this isn't the high level stuff, but it's enough to get us going. It's enough to get the body prepped and actually have an influence as well. The great thing about this is that most of the people that we work with, they spend all day sat at a desk. If you're sat at the desk, your body's not fired up and ready to go. So now you can actually feel that area working. We need to connect the upper body and the lower body now as well. So we're going to use the power band this time, and we're going to try and get the lats fired up, but we're also going to try and get some height and width in that backswing position as well. So the way that we're going to do this, if I put my lead foot, which is my left foot, onto the band, so I'm stood onto it to create a little bit of support, I'm going to set my address position, and I'm just going to hold the band as if I was addressing the golf ball. Okay, I'm going to really focus on keeping that left arm, my lead arm, locked out, and I'm going to try and wind up into the top of my backswing. So I'm going to get my lower body and my upper body moving, and I'm going to wind up to the top. So from here, get over the top of it, set a nice stable base, wind up to the top of the backswing, try and really think about left arm straight, create some height and width. Again, 5 to 6 repetitions is enough to feel it, and we can start to move with a little bit of speed. Then we'd switch on to the other side. So even though you're not a left-handed golfer, we want both sides to be firing and operating as well. So we do the opposite side as well, okay? So if you go left foot on the band, that just anchors it down onto the floor.
Yep.
And then just grip the band, let's go a little bit higher up to the top. And let's think about the idea now of keeping this left arm locked out. So normal address position, so just line the feet up. Okay, from there, good grip, that's it. Really try and wind it up nice and high. And at the top, if you just pause at the top for me, hold there. Can you feel a good stretch here?
Yeah.
Okay, come back down to the top, go again. Good. Perfect. Now you've started to warm it up, let's do 5 reps with a little bit of speed, okay? So keeping your eyes down on the floor.
That was speed.
We need to move at 100 mile an hour soon, so let's get it going. Good. Very good. 2 more to go. Perfect. Now if you just switch the band onto the other side, so like we said, even though you're not a left-handed golfer, we still want both sides of the body to be kicking, so you just need to change your grip over.
Okay.
So this will feel strange. Just set a nice wide stance again for me. Now I want you to keep that right arm locked out. That's it. So this will feel weird because you're not used to this position, okay? But same idea. Can you feel that stretch initially here? Yeah, can you feel that stretch through the right hand side of the body? Okay. So now you've done your 5 reps. Let's get it firing, let's get it going. Good.
We had to pick the hottest day of the year to do
Yes,
this, didn't we?
I know. And I'm currently wearing a quarter zip as well. For me, that's a great place to start. We've done 2 drills pretty quickly. The last area that we want to look at, and this is one of the most common things I think we see with amateur golfers, is a lot of golfers spend the bulk of their day either at a laptop, at a computer, or driving, so they get very rounded through the shoulders. That can have a huge influence over what your shoulder mechanics can do in the golf swing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually try and fire up the muscles around the back of the shoulder blades to get a little bit of what we call scapular retraction, to get those muscles working and hopefully give us that nicer posture, more neutral posture, as opposed to being rounded and forwards as well. So we'll use the power band. This is really simple, so it's called a power band pull apart, okay? Overhand grip. The power band can either go single or you can double it up for a little bit more resistance, okay? So I would just set a nice stance, create some support through the upper body. Your hands are just below shoulder width or shoulder height. Chest up, open that band as wide as you can. And I just want you to feel like you're trying to pinch those shoulder blades together at the back of the movement. Okay, so chest up. Again, just watching that when you do the movement, you're not trying to overextend through the back. So I'm solid through the lower body, holding my posture, and just trying to really open that band up nice and wide. So from this position now, you're going to try and squeeze the back of the shoulder blades, control it back to the center, and then go again from there. So if you think about the movement that we're doing here, we're opening the chest up, okay? So the chest for most people is quite a tight area that will limit shoulder rotation. So we're opening that chest up, but we're firing up the muscles on the opposing side as well.
I like that idea of pinching those shoulder blades together.
Yeah, so it gives you a real good sort of focal point of how to do that as well. Yeah. So in a nutshell, 3 mobility drills. So we've got your kickstands rotations where we're loading the lower body and we're rotating the thoracic spine as well. We've got overhead range of motion, so we've hit those key areas, those 3 key sort of joints of the body, and 3 activation drills. So we've done standing hip extensions with a little bit of rotation, we've got the glutes kicking in, we've done loaded power band takeaways which have started to fire the lats up and just connect that rotational movement, and we've done power band pull aparts that have just started to fire up the stabilizers of what you call your scapula, which is your shoulder blade. And now, in theory, the body should feel like it's a bit more prepped and ready to go.
Ready to go at 100 mile an hour. I mean, I do like
100%.
that thought. That's a good incentive. What I really liked about that was it took no time at all. These are cheap as chips, and I wouldn't feel conscious of myself doing that in front of 20 guys around the nets and the chipping green. So that's fantastic. What would be great, and I think you said, have you got a PDF or something so people could print it out and then they could put this in their golf bag?
We can put this in the show notes quite easily. So there'll be a link in the show notes that will just take you over to our website. If you subscribe to our mailing list, it will then send you over this as a warm-up. So the warm-up will have video tutorials. So like we've done today, it's going to be me talking you through each of the exercises, the specifics of it, how to do it. and then you've got that ready to go. So you can practice it at home, so that when you're at the course, you just step up, you use your TheraBand, your power band, you just get the body moving and get it prepped. The other thing as well that we haven't actually covered today is you do want to hit some balls off the back of it as well. So you would do this first of all, do your practice swings, whatever your drills might be, hit some balls, start to slowly ramp your pace up as well. So maybe hit some half, 3/4, full shots. 10 to 15 shots, just working through the tempo. So start at 50%, 60% and ramp it up, but try and get working at the pace at which you want to work out on the course. So it's no good hitting some little pitch shots and then going out and stepping up with driver as the first shot of the day. So you have to get the body working at that tempo. So 5 to 6 drivers working at the right tempo is going to be the way to do it.
Jon, that's fantastic. Thank you
Pleasure.
so much.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed that. Guys, make sure you follow Jon on the socials. I'm going to put all the details down below. Really quick and easy way to warm up there. You know, that's going to help you on the first tee. There's 18 holes on the golf course and they're all as important as the others, so it's really essential to get warmed up, prevent some injury and hopefully shoot some better scores. So make sure you check Jon out. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, give us a like. If you loved it, tell your mates, check out the back catalogue and subscribe to The Golf Show, and we'll see you next time on The Golf Show. I hope you enjoyed the episode of The Golf Show. To watch another, click here. To subscribe, click here.